Well, I'm Rudy Blair, and you're watching G5CU. I am a reporter, music reporter, entertainment reporter. I've been doing this now for close to 30 years, and I gotta tell you, man, it's a dream come true because I never thought that the things that I've gotten a chance to do, the people I've had a chance to meet, places I've gone to, I would never thought in a million years I would have been able to do all these things and be part of this business, because it's a great business, man. Whether you're doing radio, which I've done, whether you're doing TV, which I've done, whether it's emceeing anywhere, or like I said, just getting a chance to talk to, whether it be celebrities or just people in general, man, it is an experience I wish everybody could do. Well, what got me started, I actually have to credit my brother for it, my older brother. My older brother's DJ, he's been DJing for years. You know, one of the best, and somebody I always looked up to. And because there was always music in my family in the house, because my dad was the type of person who always went out and he would literally buy, you know, music all the time for us growing up. I mean, my dad was the kind of guy to get up Saturday morning early, go down to Buffalo, pick up 45s and albums and bring them back for us, and we'd be listening to them. And then, you know, 2 or 3 months later, the radio stations up here would be playing. And so we were always ahead of the game, so there was always music in the family. So my brother had talked about wanting to get into radio for years, and I never really thought about what I wanted to do. So when it came time, high school's going to be done, I got called in by a counselor, and he's like, Rudy, you haven't applied for anything, you got to apply for something, like, don't you want to do something? And the first thing that hit me was, okay, why don't we try radio? And so we applied, and the rest is history. I think when it comes to challenges, it's because it's a media that has been changing in the last 20 years. When I first started, there was more of, I mean, radio was different. I mean, back when I started, a company was only allowed to own 2 radio stations, an AM and an FM. They were lucky if they were even able to own a television station. That all changed, where now you have companies like Bell or Rogers who own several radio stations. They own several television stations. There was no such thing as the internet. So the challenges I had back then was really what jobs were going to be available. And as everybody knows, in this business, if you want to start out, you go to a smaller market, smaller town, work your way through and come on up and hopefully come to a big city. I was lucky. I never left Toronto. I was always in a big city. So from day one, when I got my first real radio job, which was CKO, was an all-news information station that no longer exists, I have been in this city. So I literally had to sort of start in one of the biggest markets in North America. And to do that and to hone your game on that is not an easy thing, because when you're working in a smaller market, you can make mistakes. There's only a few people who are going to hear you. You work in a large market, you've got millions of people who are going to hear you make mistakes. They're going to remember your name, and it's going to be like, you can lose your credibility. So I had to work very, very hard to keep my credibility. From moving from CKO to eventually going to all new 680 CFDR, which of course is known as 680 News. And it's been a great journey. Originally, when I first started, I actually didn't want to even go on air. I wanted to do production. But when I finally got to 680 News, there weren't any production jobs really. They had just literally started as an all-news station, because before that, for many years, they were known as the top 40 radio station. And when they flipped, I was there already. I took advantage of the fact that they needed content. I helped out Laura Martin, who at the time was doing traffic and entertainment, said, I'd like to help out. She said, great, showed me the ropes, and decided, you know, I need to specialize in something if I'm going to make this work. And I decided, well, everybody loves music, so decided to do that. First thing is the internet. That's probably number one, because when it comes to music, anything that you want to do these days, you can do it yourself. People are being discovered on the internet, on YouTube. Justin Bieber, perfect example. He was discovered on YouTube. People can build and start careers on the internet. That's probably one of the biggest things. Plus, a lot of times now, which is probably one of the biggest reasons why record companies have been having problems over the years, is as a musician, as somebody who is trying to make music, technically you don't need a record company. You can form your own record company, put your music up on the internet, make sure that people are going to discover you, and you can sell, you can do whatever you want, make money without the middleman, which is of course the record companies. And I think also, if there's anything, and this is probably on a negative side, let's put it this way. I think creativity in music is starting to come back. I think there was a certain point in time a couple of years ago where there weren't as many creative artists out there. They're all following the same formula. And I think it started to hurt music. I thought it started to hurt the way things were being done. When you have certain artists like, say, Amy Winehouse, okay, who when she was alive, fantastic singer, she went through all the problems. She stuck out. And the reason why she stuck out was she was in an era where there weren't a lot of great singers or great songwriters. If Amy Winehouse, and I've said this all the time, or Adele, if they were back in the 60s, they'd be a dime a dozen. Because there were so many great artists back then who could sing like that, who could write, who can do those things. But because of today, they stand out. Somebody like Ed Sheeran stands out because we're lacking those real creative artists. Now, here's another thing, too. I'm going to contradict myself. And the reason why I'm going to contradict myself is I'm saying that as those creative artists who are being given a chance. Because really, there are a lot of creative artists. I've had a chance to interview a lot of creative artists. But because of the way radio format is, radio play is, they don't get the chance to be played. Because, again, there seems to be this thing about, society wants just this type of music. Every once in a while, an artist like a Lorde pops in who's doing something a little different, and she's given the chance. I think if a lot more creative artists were given the opportunity to do their thing, I think the landscape of the people who you see as the stars would definitely change.